guys, my name is Star, and this video is gonna be a bit different because for those of you guys who have been watching me, you may or may not remember a year ago that I made a video about age regression and I explained what I thought it was. Well, it turns out, as of more recent information that I found, a lot of the information in that video is incorrect. So before I begin this video, I would just like to apologize. I did not mean to spread misinformation. I had no malicious intent. I just wanted to bring awareness to mental health and all that, because that is part of my content, is bringing mental health awareness. And I'm sorry that I accidentally spread some misinformation. And yeah, I am really sorry about that. But anyway, so I wanted to make a video explaining what age regression actually is, because a couple months ago, I was a part of a collab account on TikTok with, I believe, 16,000 followers called the Every Little Project. It was formerly known as that, but now it's just simply known as the age regression community. I will show y'all the name of the account not the name of the account. I will have a link, two links down below for Shayla's account. Shayla, they are the main person who was running the account. Me and Shayla basically were moderators of that account, and both of us were the main moderators, if that makes sense. I was the main one who monitored the comment section and all that, and they were the one that ran the whole show, basically. So I will put a link down to Shayla, aka Sleepy Baby's social media and all that shit. And I will also have the link to other resources for age regressors and all that. Sorry, I forgot I had this on. I'm taking it off. But yeah, I'll be putting some links down below on resources, reliable resources on age regression and age dreaming. But yeah, so again, I am so sorry about accidentally spreading some misinformation. I did not mean to spread any misinformation whatsoever. So I will be making another video. This video right now is what I meant to say. It's basically the video giving the correct information about age regression. Now, to start off, in basic terms, in medical terms, I'm going to explain what age regression is and what causes age regression. Age regression is an unconscious defense mechanism where basically someone returns to a younger state of mind due to being triggered by a PTSD flashback, or in my case, psychotic episodes. It is a defense mechanism. It is not something you can do voluntarily. It is purely involuntary. You are able to force regression, however, don't do that unless you are with a medical professional who has approved you to do so. The only way to force regression and basically be in an actual regressed state is via a form of therapy that is more commonly used in people with psychosis, PTSD, autism, anxiety, BPD, and bipolar disorder, is hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy is basically when you get hypnotized and like the medical professionals basically hypnotize you and safely guide you back to the time when you were first traumatized, or like just like help you regress safely. Don't ever do it on your own though. Don't ever age regress on your own. It is not safe to do it on your own. I would like to preface this by saying, don't do it on your own. Don't force it on your own. It is not safe at all to do so. I wish I knew that a year ago, but I didn't, and I kept forcing it, and it made my mental health worse in certain ways, and it also made me lose certain mental abilities. And I did not know that I should have not been doing that without the approval of a medical professional. It was not safe for me to do that, and I didn't know it was not safe until it was too late, basically. Nothing super bad happened. It just caused me to have other symptoms. I deal with flashbacks, paranoia, fear of abandonment. I have a harder time with understanding what's going on now because of the fact I forced it too much, and without the supervision of a counselor or therapist or psychiatrist. I will say this multiple times, and I know there are going to be other regressors in my comment section that are going to be so angry, but please don't force your regression. Don't regress voluntarily. It is dangerous. Don't do it without the approval of a medical professional. They only ever approve of forcing regression if you have something very severe like psychosis or PTSD, because they want to bring your brain back to that time so that way they can better understand how to treat you. But they won't do that for long-term treatment. Don't regress on your own. It is not safe. Do it with a medical professional if they approve it, but don't ever force it. Don't ever do it on your own. Don't do it at all. Don't. Now, a lot of people are like going to be really confused and ask, but Star, I regress and nothing bad happens to me afterwards, and I voluntarily regress, and it's usually very positive. Well, the online age regression community, they often do have really good intentions in my opinion. However, even with the best intentions, you can still fuck up some shit, you know? So I'm going to explain to y'all what age dreaming is, which is what I do instead of age regressing now. Age dreaming is different from age regression, and it is perfectly safe to do on your own and voluntarily. Age dreaming is a coping mechanism where you basically surround yourself with childlike things, and you don't fully regress, you only partially regress, which is much, much safer and far less risk. You don't lose any cognitive ability except for mainly speech, and it's not a big deal for that though, because a lot of people who do have mental health problems don't have very good speech to begin with, and it doesn't really impact it that much. Well, at least in my experience, my intellectual disability caused me to learn how to talk at a later age. So I've always had a really weird way of speaking. So age dreaming does not affect that for me. But age dreaming is when you are aware of your actions, but you are also in the mindset of a child temporarily, and it is a coping mechanism. Age regression is a defense mechanism. I want to make that very clear. Now, a lot of people often get regressors confused with system littles, which I don't know if I ever touched upon that last year in my old age regression video. But system littles also known as DID or OSDD littles. Basically, they're disorders that instead of having one set personality, I'm sorry if I use the wrong terms, but they were both formerly known as different types of multiple personality disorder. However, medical professionals and people in the plural community, DID community, OSDD community, no longer call it multiple personality disorder because personality is different from everything else. For people with those disorders, their self is not one singular person in their head. Instead, there's multiple, 2 or more different alters. You have to have at least 2 different identities, like literal identities, in order to be diagnosed with DID or OSDD. I don't know much about the disorders, but I'll link some resources from the CDC down below as well. But from what I've read, it basically means instead of having one conscious, you have multiple, which is why some people, but not everyone, but a lot of people with these disorders dissociate when they switch, basically. There are multiple different roles a person in a system can play. For example, one alter can be a protector, one can be a persecutor, also known as trauma holder. Persecutors are alters that were deeply affected by the trauma. Protectors are the ones given the role to protect the host. The host is not the original personality. There is no original alter/personality. I would like to keep that in mind, because anyone in a system can switch roles. For example, a persecutor can become a host, or a host can become a protector, or anything else, basically. They are also able to age as well inside of the head space. Their ages may be different, which is where the term system little or system middle comes in. Middles and littles are basically young alters that are under the age of 18. And I have a friend who's a system, so they explained to me what certain things are, and I don't fully understand, but I try to be as supportive as possible, you know what I mean? But system littles and middles are basically teenagers, children, or babies or toddlers. Basically anybody under the age of 18. Middles are teenager and basically, I would say above the age of 10. If a alter is above the age of 10 but under 18, they are a middle. But if they are under the age of 10 or younger, they are a little. System littles often get confused with age. Sorry, it stopped recording, but anyway, please don't ever mistake a system little for a age regressor or age dreamer. Although, yes, there are alters who do age regress, they are different from age sliders. And what age sliders are is when a alter's age changes more frequently than average. That's what a age slider is. And, so please don't get those confused. It is very easy to confuse them. But more often than not, a system will tell you if certain alters, if they trust you enough, a system will tell you if some or all of their alters are age regressors or age dreamers. So I would like you guys to keep that in mind, because a lot of systems, once they trust someone enough to tell them that they're a system and want to accept them for who they are, and there is multiple in their head instead of one person, basically, they will explain everything to you as best, better than I can, basically. And there are systems online who are very, very open. Personally, I would recommend looking at people like Dissociated DID, or It's Okay Jake. Keep in mind he doesn't do as much DID content anymore, but he will once in a while make DID related content. There's also Baby Who is Gracie, also known as Bunny Bells or Baby Gracie. The main name that they use is Who is Gracie or Bunny Bells. Those are the two main names. I'd recommend asking them about it. They are a very open person and they're super sweet as well. But yeah, I would like you guys to keep that in mind. System littles and middles are not the same as regressors and age dreamers. Now, another thing you might be wondering is STAR is age play, also known as DDLG, also known as ABDL, the same thing as age regression or age dreaming. And I would love to make this extremely clear. Hell no. Most age regressors and age dreamers are anti-DDLG, anti-ABDL, anti-adult baby kink. A lot of us are very anti-DDLG, basically. In fact, I am one of those anti-DDLG people. I do not support it. In my opinion, it's pedophilia. It sexualizes children, and it also sexualizes mentally ill people. So that's why I don't support it. I think it's horrible. I think it's straight up promoting pedophilia, in my opinion. So yeah. I would also like to also explain that not all age dreamers and age regressors regress to the age of a baby or a toddler or a kid. Most of us actually regress or age dream to when we were in our teens. In my case, it is early to mid-teens for me, which isn't that far off from my current age now, which is 20, basically. So yeah, most of us don't even regress or age dream to the age of being a baby. Now, this part of age regression is going to get pretty dark when I talk about it. If you guys did not see the disclaimer thing that just now popped up as you were watching this, or if you just weren't fully paying attention because I wasn't speaking, or if you are just someone like me who doesn't fully understand reading, like basically has a really low reading comprehension, such as myself, there was a trigger warning for sensitive topics. So if you get triggered by any sensitive topic, now would be a time to turn off this video. But if you choose to continue to watch and you get triggered, don't say I didn't warn you. So just saying. Now I will be talking more about age regression. Age regression should not be glamorized like how it is glamorized currently online. People always romanticize age regression and say, oh, it's purely a healthy thing, and you are able to do it on your own without any medical help, and it is perfectly safe, and there are no risks involved in regards to forcing age regression, or how they call it, voluntarily regressing. I would like to say, me and multiple people recently have been trying to speak out against this. That is not true. There are risks to forcing your regression. You can end up dissociating, you can end up having a psychotic episode, you can end up having a panic attack, you can end up self-harming. There's a lot of risks in regards to forcing a defense mechanism to be triggered. Age dreaming is a safe alternative. It is completely safe because it is not forced. You are fully aware of your actions. and you are able to control what's happening. Whereas for age regression, you can't. And I've met littles who used to force their regression, who ended up having to check themselves into mental health facilities because they forced their regression too many times. It is not good to force a defense mechanism to trigger, to activate, basically. It's not good. It is really not good, and it's not safe to do that. So please don't ever do that. And also anybody who says that age regression is therapist approved coping mechanism, they are not talking about age regression. Age dreaming is a therapist approved coping mechanism. Age regression is not. And I've met people who actually went to school to learn about age regression. Yes. When you do psychiatry or psychology in college, they don't know much about regression because it's more of a recent thing that was discovered in science. However, they do try to touch upon it, but they will tell you that no, age regression is not a therapist-approved coping mechanism. It's a form of hypnotherapy to purposefully trigger it in a safe environment in order to be able to understand what exactly happened to the client and what traumatized them, or how to treat their mental disorders. So if you go to school for psychiatry or psychology or counseling, they will teach you about age regression. However, they don't touch upon it very much, given how very, very little information and how very, very little accurate information there is out there about age regression and what the medical effects of age regression are, because it is a very recent thing that has been discovered. They just didn't really have a name for it. There are multiple different names for it, and there are multiple different disorders that could cause it. It's not only mental illness that it affects. Some people with Tourette's syndrome age regress whenever they have tic attacks. There are some people with dementia who act younger because when your brain is deteriorating, it could cause someone to age regress. There are some people with Alzheimer's who age regress. Some people like me who are on the autism spectrum age regress involuntarily when we are overstimulated. Well, not involuntarily, but I'm still relearning to use the correct terms, so I'm sorry about that. But for a lot of autistic people, when we get overstimulated, you know how a lot of autistic people end up screaming, crying, chewing on things we shouldn't be chewing on whenever we have meltdowns, or we seem to act younger when we have meltdowns? That's because for a lot of autistic people, age regression is a defense mechanism. So that's why so many autistic people are able to articulate words very, very well normally when they have the right vocabulary, that is. But whenever they have a meltdown, they seem to change in a weird way. That's what age regression is. It's a defense thing, not a voluntary thing. Age dreaming is different, though. It's really no different than, I would say, meditating. Because age dreaming, you just surround yourself with childlike things and envision yourself as a child and engage in childlike activities in a safe environment. And you know that you have control, and you know that you could stop anything from going wrong, basically. So, yeah, age regression is almost purely either A, trauma response, or B, your brain responding to basically it's like the brain deteriorating, basically. And it's also a defense mechanism for some people as well. In my case, it is the defense mechanism. There are free responses: fight, flight, freeze. Age regression is a form of a flight response, basically. But yeah, I will link you guys down below to some people that I know who have accurate information about age regression down below in the description. I'll also put other links there too. So thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys. Sorry, I actually knocked something over. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.